All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful and most common classes of drugs in medicine, glucocorticoids. Today, we're going to break down how they actually work inside the cell, why some are so much stronger than others, and most importantly, how you can pick the perfect one for the patient right in front of you.
So let's just jump right in with a classic clinical dilemma. Picture this. You've got two patients. One has swelling in their brain, cerebral edema from a tumor. The other is in a full-blown adrenal crisis. You know you need to give a steroid to both, but which one and why? By the time we're done here, you'll know exactly which one to grab, and you'll be able to explain exactly why you made that choice.
To answer that question, we have to start at square one. We need to zoom all the way in and understand what's actually happening at the cellular level. And it all starts with something called the genomic pathway. First things first, glucocorticoids are lipids. They're fatty, so they don't need any special key or secret handshake to get into a cell. They just slide right across the cell membrane. Easy as that, just passive diffusion into the cytoplasm. Okay, once it's inside, the steroid starts looking for its dance partner, the glucocorticoid receptor, which is just kind of floating around in the cytoplasm. When they find each other and bind, they form this newly activated steroid receptor complex.
Now, this activated complex has a mission. It travels from the cytoplasm straight into the nucleus. You know, the cell's main command center, where all the DNA, all the genetic blueprints are kept.
And this, right here, is where the real magic happens. The complex gets in there and starts messing with the DNA. Its main job, when we're talking about inflammation, is to find and block pro-inflammatory transcription factors, the big one being NF-kappa B. By shutting that down, it basically turns off the factory that's pumping out inflammatory molecules.
So here's the key takeaway from all this. This whole process, getting into the cell, finding the receptor, going to the nucleus, and changing which proteins get made, that's a genomic effect. It's not like flicking a light switch, it's more like rewriting the factory's assembly line instructions. And that takes time. We're talking hours before you see the clinical anti-inflammatory effects really kick in.
Okay, so now that we know how they work, let's talk about how the common steroids you'll use every single day actually stack up against each other, because I'm telling you, when it comes to raw power, they're definitely not all created equal. So, how do we measure this power? We use a scale called relative anti-inflammatory potency. And to have a scale, you need a starting point, right? A baseline. For us, that baseline is our body's very own natural glucocorticoid, cortisol.
Hydrocortisone, which is just the pharmaceutical name for cortisol, sets the standard. We give it a relative potency of exactly 1. It's considered short-acting, and it's the anchor for everything else we're about to compare.
Next up, we've got the absolute workhorse of clinical medicine, prednisone. This is probably the one you'll prescribe most often. It's an intermediate-acting steroid, and it packs about 4 times the anti-inflammatory punch of hydrocortisone.
Then there's its close cousin, Methylprednisolone. You might know it by its IV brand name, Solumedrol. It's just a little bit stronger than prednisone with a relative potency of 5. Another intermediate-acting beast.
And finally, we have the heavy hitter, the long-acting powerhouse, Dexamethasone. Honestly, this thing is in a whole other league. It has a staggering anti-inflammatory potency that's somewhere between 25 to 30 times that of our baseline cortisol.
Okay, now this table, this is pure gold. This is what translates those abstract potency numbers into the real-world doses you'll actually use. You absolutely need to know this. To get the same anti-inflammatory effect, you need 20 milligrams of hydrocortisone, but only 5 of prednisone, 4 of methylprednisolone, or teeny tiny 0.75 milligrams of dexamethasone. Seriously, commit these numbers to memory. It's crucial.
But hang on. Pure anti-inflammatory strength, that's only half the story. To really master these drugs, you have to understand their second personality, an effect that can be a huge help or a huge problem, depending on what you're trying to do. See, every steroid has 2 potential actions. The glucocorticoid effect. That's the one we usually want. That's the powerful fire extinguisher that puts out inflammation. But they can also have a mineralocorticoid effect, which acts just like the hormone aldosterone. It tells the kidneys to hang on to salt and water. Think of this as the water sponge effect.
And this difference is everything in the clinic. Natural cortisol, and therefore hydrocortisone, has a pretty even balance of both effects. But as we developed these more potent synthetic steroids, they were engineered to get rid of that water sponge property. So prednisone has less of it, and dexamethasone, it has practically 0 mineralocorticoid activity. It is a pure, unadulterated fire extinguisher.
And right there, that's the whole key.
This is how we can go back to our question from the beginning and make a super precise, evidence-based decision for our 2 patients.
Okay, so let's think it through. Patient with brain edema. What's our goal? We need the strongest possible anti-inflammatory effect to shrink that swelling. What's the problem? Well, the skull is a closed box, right? The absolute last thing you want to do is cause more fluid retention. So, what do you grab? You grab the pure fire extinguisher, the one with no water sponge. You choose Dexamethasone. It's a no-brainer.
Now, let's look at our other patient, the one in adrenal crisis. Here, the goal is totally different. We're trying to replace what the body should be making. And the problem is, their adrenal glands aren't making cortisol or aldosterone. They're missing both the fire extinguisher and the water sponge. So what do we pick? We pick Hydrocortisone, specifically because it gives them back both the glucocorticoid and that life-saving mineralocorticoid activity they're missing.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Let's boil everything down to the absolute high-yield points you need to walk away with.
If you remember only one thing from today, make it the dose equivalence. 20 of hydrocortisone is the same as 5 of prednisone. And remember this? Dexamethasone is your most powerful and your driest agent. It's all fire extinguisher, no water sponge, which makes it perfect for certain situations.
So, understanding the mechanism and the potencies, that's step 1. That's the foundation. But using these powerful drugs, especially for long periods, comes with a whole host of side effects. And that leads us to the next big question. How do we actually manage the consequences? Well, we'll get into all of that in part 2.